I guess let's begin from the very scratch. Let me welcome you all to our episode number 3, which is based on burnout. Um, अभी तक काफी लोग familiar हो गए होंगे with our I don't know infinity episode podcast, which is Freelance 911, the truth behind six figures, and it's not as controversial as it seems. So
Yeah.
welcoming you, Chelsea. How are you feeling? We are at third episode now. We have already done 3 of them, uh, like pilot included. Didn't post the pilot. It's a secret. But we are finally at episode 3. How do you feel? Did you feel इतना खींच पाएंगे हम लोग? मुझे नहीं लगा था.
To be honest, as I was telling you like an hour ago, I am the person who cancels events, meetings around 6 to 7 out of 10 times. So, like, it's a big deal for me to be here and doing this third episode, which is technically, if we say fourth or fifth,
Right.
you know, after all the discussions and the pilot episode. So, like, I don't know how I did it. Most probably the accountability thing is there. You are there to push me. You
Yeah.
are there to schedule. You are there to ask me, like, let's do this event this Friday. I remember last time I cancelled because there was this launch that I had to prepare for. So, like, again, like, coming back to the number of episodes we have done, it's like very impressive because I am not the most committed person to things when it comes to doing events or meetings.
Right.
So I think it's pretty impressive. What do you think?
हाँ मतलब अच्छा है जो भी मतलब मेरे को ऐसा तब लगेगा कि अच्छा जब when we will do like 10-20 episodes
Hmm.
continuously तब मुझे लगेगा कि अच्छा हाँ कुछ कुछ तो हम उखाड़ रहे हैं because to be honest it's fairly easy to not do anything I feel
Makes
like
sense.
we can easily cancel कि यार हमारी client meeting है नहीं भी होगी तो झूठ बोलने में तो कुछ जाता नहीं है बट ठीक है कर रहे हैं हम लोग अच्छी बात है आई होप कि हमारे ऑडियंस भी हमसे बोर नहीं हो रही है एंड दे आर एक्चुअली एंजॉयिंग इट आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ देम हैव एक्चुअली लाइक gone and searched for our episodes. I know one of my friend was telling me how she was listening to our Spotify episode and all of that, so it's good. Do you know any friends of yours who have like listened to this, or have you promoted it somewhere?
So I put a tweet around a podcast. I added YouTube and Spotify links.
Hmm.
So after I put the tweet, in within an hour, I received a DM from Vikra, if you know him.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, Vikra. He's on LinkedIn as well and Twitter as well. So he messaged me on WhatsApp saying that the audio is like a little bit not that great.
Hmm.
Like, I was happy. See, I was happy because I received feedback on something, and from someone who, in the industry, it is a good thing to
Yeah.
receive feedback. And I think, given that our first few episodes were a mess, like, I won't lie, if my video is, my camera is not well, my angle is not great, your audio is not great in some episode, my audio is not great at some point. So these things kept happening a lot of times.
Right.
And I think it will keep happening for a few more episodes until we figure it out, right?
Right.
So I think, yeah, that was one great thing. Someone responded, someone gave feedback. There was one more person. She listened to it on Spotify. I kind of forgot to ask her like what is her feedback, but reminds me I should ask her probably what did she think of the episode. I think we are getting better, and with more episodes we'll get more better.
Yeah. I mean, I think I know the output on Spotify and YouTube might not be that great, but I feel especially like right now, people are listening to us, reacting to us on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn audio events, I feel it's still way better than
Right.
the organic thing. हाँ वो प्रोडक्शन पोस्ट प्रोडक्शन थोड़ा हमारा खराब है वो हम संभालेंगे कुछ टाइम में तो ठीक है करते करते आएगा आई गेस हमने भी ओबीएस चलाना पहली बार सीखा है वीडियो एडिटिंग करे हुए मुझे कितना टाइम हो गया, और ये टेक्निकलिटीज फिगर आउट करने में बिल्कुल आईटी गाय वाली, मतलब देर मतलब ऑफिसेज में एक वो आईटी गाय जरूर होता था, तो कुछ ना कुछ खराब होते रहता था उसको ठीक करने के लिए, वैसी वाली
True.
फीलिंग आती है। ठीक है, आई होप इट गेट्स बेटर। आई थिंk we have done a lot, like we have a lot to talk about. um Also, I feel um there's this dip in energy that I feel. Okay. Which is like it's relevant to the topic that we picked today as well, which is burnout. So for people who don't know, who are listening to us, हम लोग ऐसे पीछे डिसाइड कर रहे थे कि हमको किस बारे में बात करनी है। आई रिमेम्बर यू पुट अप पहले कि अच्छा वी शुड टॉक अबाउट, आई डोंट नो, something like behavior,
Yeah.
if I'm not wrong. And then I was like, I'm so frustrated right now, I want to vent. And burnout came to mind. So that is something like that is something that comes to mind. What what is your experience like, Chelsea, with like burnout and everything?
When it comes to burnout, I think I don't have anything on top of my mind, but I think there is this phase when you feel burnt out.
Hmm.
Like sometimes you don't feel like working, sometimes you just sleep more, sometimes you just eat more.
Hmm.
And I think it happened very recently, or I would say maybe today.
Today.
Like the feeling was, I did not work until 4 5 p.m., which is like a lot because the whole day went by.
Yeah.
I slept a lot, and I also like ate junk, I skipped gym, like a lot of things happened today. I was also telling you, like I felt like canceling this event as well,
Hmm.
but I already canceled the last one, so like uh, I was like guilty to cancel this, so I moved forward with it. I think last time I felt extremely burnt out was in my job because I was working very odd hours, but also by choice. But we don't realize in the process that sometimes we just keep working and working and keep doing things, and we don't realize that in the long term this is not sustainable and this will lead to burnout. We usually miss this thing. So I think, yeah, this was the last incident when I felt very burnt out. A lot of factors were there, but mostly I was working a lot, I was not prioritizing myself, I was not prioritizing other things, I was just working. So I think, yeah, that was one thing that led me to burnout.
Right. So, like, if I think about burnout, अच्छा burnout तो एक तो ऐसा नहीं है कि पहले लोगों को नहीं होता था, बस एक टर्म एक हमें नया निकल के आया कि अच्छा बर्नआउट भी कुछ होता है। ठीक है,
Mhm.
अंटिल आई डिडंट नो दिस टर्म, आई थिंक आई वुड स्टिल पुश माई सेल्फ मोर, बट एवर सिंस आई नो अच्छा ऐसा कुछ होता है, एंड लाइक बर्नआउट इज अ लेजिट थिंग। सो आई थिंक sometimes we also just term procrastination as burnout. ठीक है, sometimes you are plain lazy, but sometimes it's legit a problem like burnout. So अगर हमारे listeners को समझना हो कि like burnout होता क्या है, basics, not from a therapist or psychologist or coach's perspective, but what's your definition of burnout?
uh I don't know. I think I'm not the right person to talk about it because my definition is like very mixed.
Hmm.
Because it's a mix of procrastination and burnout. So I
Hmm.
can't really define it, but it's that phase when I usually feel that I do not want to work, I am not adding value, and this is not worth it. This is not something that I want to do ever. These things usually come to my mind, but I think procrastination also plays a part when it comes to burnout. So like I have a mixed definition. Like what do you think? What is your experience with burnout and how do you define burnout?
Okay, so I am legit that teacher जो कि आपको एक एक वर्ड को ना ब्रेक कर करके बताता है. So I have my candle with me right now. I'll demonstrate you. It's burning, okay? People, you can't see it. You need to go to YouTube and check out my new candles that I purchased. Oh, not sponsored, but definitely recommend. They smell nice. Um, okay, so this is a candle. इसका काम है burn होना like any other energy, so it's burning, right? But if I keep burning this candle longer, for long times, when even in the daytime when it doesn't need to, right, in the daytime we
Right,
don't need to burn candles, but if I keep burning it, eventually it will run out of its wax and it will die. Okay,
right,
so I think this is the closest analogy that I could pick out. So burnout is simply burning out of all the passion, the fuel that you run on, basically. मुझे लगता है कि when कभी कभी ऐसा होता है ना कि वी आर सो मोटिवेटेड टू डू समथिंग, कोई नया आइडिया आता है, अच्छा, एवरी आइडिया स्टार्ट्स लाइक दिस, लाइक देर इज एन एक्साइटमेंट फेज एंड देन धीरे धीरे when you realize how tough it is, you eventually like it, the motivation dies and you have to still push yourself to, go and
right.
achieve the result. um so I guess when you over push yourself with like beyond your limits, that's when you realize, like, you realize at one point कि अब नहीं है हिम्मत. I think that's what burnout is for me. Yeah.
And also, like, you burn at a very unusual speed that you should.
Yes, yes. मतलब एक normal person कैसे काम करता है कि like normal person, there is no normal as such. I feel.
Mhm.
But also like you must have a capacity, ठीक है? For example, हो सकता है in your job you were able to work 8 hours a day and not feel burnt out,
Hmm.
right? But उससे ज़्यादा overwork करोगे तो you will feel burnt out. So there was a capacity, right? But ever since like I switched to freelancing, my capacity is a new normal for me, which is maybe 4 to 5 hours a day. अब मैं इससे ज़्यादा काम करती हूँ तो मुझे burnout feel होता है, because there is a new normal standard for me.
Makes sense.
So I guess there is a standard that you set for yourself, and उसके beyond काम करते हैं तो you feel burnt out. So yeah, that is what I think.
Valid point. So you are a good teacher, yeah. Like the campus analogy, I was like, wow, this is so great.
And I didn't plan it, okay? it just it
It
just
just
is.
happened.
Yeah. So that's
Wow.
that.
I think in burnout, there are other factors as well.
Hmm.
Let's say you have a 24-hour day, right?
Hmm.
And you sleep for 8 hours, let's say, then you're left with around 16 hours. Now, how you divide those 16 hours into parts and how you spend those 16 hours also kind of, determines if you're getting burnt out or not. Let's say if I'm working straight 12 hours a day, it will
Hmm.
lead to, you know,
Yeah.
because I have a limited bandwidth to do a certain task. But if I
Right.
was also doing certain hobbies, let's say working out, which I'm doing right now, which I'm very proud of, shameless plug-in. Uh, so yeah, like if you do like if you take up other hobbies, other activities, I think your energy kind of divides into different tasks,
Yeah.
and maybe the work that you're doing is demanding your creative energy, but the activity, let's say working out, it is not taking up your creative energy but your physical energy.
Right.
And maybe you're reading a book, it's just taking up your maybe a little bit of mental energy or something. So
Right.
it's I think taking up different tasks also is a good way to determine if you'll get burnt out or not. I think this is something that I just thought of. Like if I divide my day into certain things which do not depend like on one factor, let's say creative energy. Let's say I do three tasks. One is based on my creative energy, second is based on my physical, and third is based on my mental or emotional. So like if I divide things into these factors, based on these factors, I think it's a good way to not get burnt out.
Right. I mean, that makes sense. It also reminds me of a concept that I learned some time back, which is called your energy audit.
I
Okay.
was waiting for this.
So, energy audit में क्या होता है? You So there are some things that will drain your energy and some things that will energize you, and it's
Hmm.
different for different people. अगर एक broader sense में बात करें, obviously there are extroverts, introverts. So for extroverts there are certain things that energize them and some things that drain them, but for introverts it's the different thing. uh, मतलब for example, for extroverts they gain energy from talking to people,
Hmm.
doing something that requires a lot of people around them, for example, sales is a great example. प्रोफेशन की बात कर रही हूँ, नॉट नेसेसरली मे बी मी गोइंग आउट मीटिंग पीपल सोशलाइजिंग. अगर बहुत टाइम तक कोई एक्सट्रोवर्ट की सोशल लाइफ एकदम खराब हो चुकी है, तो दैट विल अल्टीमेटली ड्रेन देम, आई फील.
Makes sense.
Right. So that is one thing. On the other hand, if I talk about introverts, then if they're constantly surrounded by a lot of people, lot of noises, uh, then I mean, this is just generalizing things, I feel, because
Hmm.
every person is different. But yeah, there are some things that energize you and some things that don't energize you. For example, even for introverts, not every person, not every conversation is draining. Some conversations are very energy giving. Um, and those conversations are energy giving because they mostly compose of the things that you feel energized about. For example, अगर अभी यहाँ पे systems की बात होने लगे या planning की, organizing की बात होने लगे, I'll feel the most energized. Okay,
True.
because I love doing that. But you will probably feel drained out by the same conversation,
I will.
right?
Definitely.
So I think there are, like, ultimately I think the solution to everything goes back to being aware about things. I know
Hmm.
awareness is not that
Yes,
great as
yes.
well. But yeah, I think being aware of what actually gives you energy and what actually takes away energy from you, it matlab, eventually being aware of who you are as a person, what is the limit that you should work up to, एंड उसके आगे बर्नआउट हो जाएगा, बिकॉज इट्स अ पैटर्न, इट्स अ साइकिल. लाइक ऐसा नहीं होता कि एक बार बर्नआउट हुआ मतलब जिंदगी में एक ही बार बर्नआउट होगा, ऐसा नहीं होता. इफ यू आर समवन हु इज प्रोन टू बर्नआउट, तो बर्नआउट ना ऐसे अपनी साइकिल्स में रिपीट होता है. लाइक कभी कभी
Hmm.
हमें लगता है लाइक वील वर्क अलॉट, देन देर विल बी अ बर्नआउट फेज, उससे रिकवर होंगे. रिकवर होके वो लगता है कि अच्छा हमने इतना सारा काम छोड़ दिया ड्यू टू बर्नआउट, तो अब हम थोड़ी और मेहनत कर लेते हैं, थोड़ा और
Hmm.
हसल कर लेते हैं उसको कवर अप करने के लिए. तो फिर वो कवर अप करने के लिए फिर से मेहनत करते हैं, ओवर एफर्ट हो जाता है, फिर से बर्नआउट हो जाता है. तो इट्स मोस्टली अ साइकिल, इट विल मोस्टली इट्स अ पैटर्न, इट विल रिपीट इटसेल्फ. सो in order to break that pattern you will have to be conscious what's causing it. I'm so
Wow.
a life coach already, like I should do it. Okay. Yeah, so that's that.
Great points. Great points. So, how do you think burnout has affected you as a freelancer?
Hmm. Which is the core, the crux of this
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Um, so as a working professional as a freelancer, obviously, like that's the whole point of this series that we are doing. कि
Right.
freelancing is not just about कि आपने स्किल सीख ली, अपस्किल कर लिया, क्लाइंट को डिलीवरी दे दी या बिजनेस हैंडल कर लिया. वो तो एक छोटा सा पार्ट है, उसके पीछे
Hmm.
जो आपकी लाइफ में एक्चुअली चीज़ें होती हैं वो अफेक्ट करती हैं आपकी करियर को, नॉट जस्ट फ्रीलांसिंग. So, I feel as a freelancer, burnout more often than not, मतलब sometimes, most of the times it's difficult to determine simply कि मैं केवल लेजी हो रही हूँ या मुझे ये काम पसंद नहीं आ रहा इसलिए मुझे मन नहीं कर रहा काम करने का, या फिर आई एम एक्चुअली बर्नड आउट. तो वो
Hmm.
डिफरेंशिएट करना थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है. बट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, somewhere deep down, I am that person who pushes herself a lot. Okay. I am an emotional person, I know, but if a client, if a work needs to be done, then it needs to be done.
Hmm.
There is no if and but there. Just because matlab, I think it this way कि अच्छा no matter I'm feeling this way and that way, my emotions are valid. I don't know if it's a right thing to do. So by no measure is this the standard thing that people should do. Um, but yeah, I mostly push myself through ki acha we will deal with this, but first let's complete our tasks, because at the end of the day I'm earning due to XYZ services, and I have a commitment with my client, and if I don't fulfill it, then it will eventually affect my career. And it will also affect my mental health. Like, TK, I have burnout right now, but if I don't do this, then it will affect me in like much bigger ways, and it might be difficult to like recover back from that. So that's usually how I think.
Makes sense.
um एंड हाँ, मतलब बर्नआउट में यार पहली बात तो खुद का ही काम करने का मन नहीं करता, खुद की पोस्ट बनाने का मन नहीं करता, तो क्लाइंट का तो क्या ही करेगा। मतलब इट्स लाइक दैट मोस्टली। So that's usually how it goes with me. How is it with you? Like, how does burnout affect your life as a freelancer?
I think when it comes to me, we have a lot of similar things, but our way of doing them is like totally opposite. Like when I'm burnt out, I drop things, I run away, I throw my phone away, I shut down my laptop, and I just do nothing. This is how I sometimes cope with burnout, or maybe procrastination. It's very blurry line for me. Like I'll be happy to figure out things, but I think figuring out is a very tough thing at present for
Right.
me. But yeah, like when I'm burnt out, it's mostly, I am just doing nothing. I'm sleeping or eating or, maybe binge watching something. This is how I usually cope with burnout, or could be procrastination. But yeah, that's that's story for another time. Uh, I think I haven't still figured out a way how to push myself when I'm burnt out, because mostly why burnout happens to me is I have worked a lot that my creative energy is like vanished. Like I do not have any creative bandwidth left. That is when I feel the most burnt out, when I don't have any creative energy left. And creative energy, how I'm out of creative energy is when I'm not appreciated for my creative effort. This is one thing which I have realized, adds up to a lot, adds a lot to the creative bandwidth or energy I have at the moment. If someone criticizes, not like positive feedback, constructive criticism is all great, but when someone tries to put their ways onto you in terms of creative stuff, or maybe they criticize your work in a way that it's nothing, like you go into that overthinking spiral, that this person said this and I am not worth it, right? My skills are not that great. I have faced this in the last month. uh, I don't know if people say it on a whim, but it's not great to tell people to give feedback in a way that it would put someone down in terms of creative efforts. So like I think this is one thing that I haven't figured out. Like I take things personally, not a good thing, not recommended. But yeah, this leads to creative. My creative energy gets very low, and I don't feel like working. But most of my work is creative. Like I do writing, I do ideation, strategy. Like 80% of my work is creative, right? Everything is just creativity based. So if I'm out of creative energy, I'm not able to do that creative work. I will just keep overthinking it. Like I have to do this, I have to write these drafts, I have to deliver to this client, I have to do certain thing, do certain creative thing. But when I'm out of creative energy, I am not able to do those things. Now it's a mix of procrastination, because I am not able to push myself on certain creative things that I need to do, but also the burnout, the creative energy is not there to do that certain task. So it's the way with me. I haven't figured out a solution. I just take breaks. you know Today I did not work until 5 p.m., I would say. Then I started working a little bit, organized things a little bit, and I think now I'm getting in the momentum to start working again. Like maybe after this podcast, I'll actually work for like 2 3 hours straight. So yeah, breaks is what I usually do if I feel burnt out.
Just give me a moment. Okay. Um, so I would say totally 100% relate. Um, so I did mention that I have to get back to the tasks that I have to do. There is no other way about it.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean कि मतलब मैं एकदम से अपने आप को पुश एकदम ही कर देती हूँ. Okay, so even I have binged Netflix for hours. ठीक है. One way that I love to comfort myself with is emotional eating, perhaps. Like my go-to is I'll order something that I love to eat. So that's something I do. Not proud of it, but yeah, that's my way of coping with these things. And this is like a big thing, and I'm sure that we will need a totally different episode for this as well. Um, not feeling valued as a freelancer,
Right.
because this is a big thing that you are working your ass off mostly. Like I know you as a person, like you try strive for 100%, right?
Hmm.
um I'm not saying I strive for 100% all the time, uh but I'll say I am the most punctual, most sincere freelancer you'll find out there. So I have never missed a deadline for a client. Okay, no matter how how like कैसा भी मैंने काम तो डिलीवर हमेशा ही किया है. ठीक है. So while we are like striving for our 100%, the best that we know we can, but not being appreciated is a big one for me. Like it instantly drains my energy.
Hmm.
And one thing that clients perhaps don't realize is that you can get much out of us by just appreciating our work every now and then than like criticizing us, because it's eventually not going to help in any way. Um, I know this because like I've recently not I've recently being criticized by one of my clients, and I just like it's what has triggered some issues inside me. Okay, this is the most that I can say on a public platform right now. But yeah, like it's not a great feeling, and I feel that there is a journal. This is something I personally do. Okay, that whenever I feel like uh giving criticism, like I have interns as well, I have worked with people as well. So whenever I have to criticize someone, like okay, I have to give them criticism. Criticism is in itself is not a bad thing, not at all.
Hmm.
But what I do is I always add some good things before telling about the bad things. So I'll always appreciate, first of all, okay, you're doing this really nicely, whatever XYZ. But I feel like this is some area that you can also look into. Something like subtle, because I know how it is like being on the other end as well. And I feel the art of criticism is something that people should learn. I don't know why clients have the superiority complex, that they know better than us for some reason. So yeah, I
Totally.
can vent on this for hours. So
Me too.
so that's for another episode for sure. But I would say, what are the clear signs of burnout that you feel? Like how is it different from being just lazy, or like
Hmm.
just procrastination?
I again the lines are pretty much blurry, but a few things. Uh, Not enough creative energy. I would say this thing like tops the list. Another one is like too much overthinking. I think it's again a part of, I would say, like, it happens like very frequently. So I cannot just list it as a symptom for
Hmm.
burnout for me.
Hmm.
Like, creative energy is the top thing that I would say, which is a clear symptom for me to, I'm getting burnt out. Another thing could be, I'm not able to do a certain task the way I usually do.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't know what's the reason. Maybe, you have like different levels of energy on a certain day. Could be that thing as well. But like, again, the lines are pretty much blurry. What do you think? Like, I don't have a clear answer. I would say it's just the creative energy thing that I have.
Yeah, no, I completely agree to that factor. It happens with me as well. Like, I open, I don't know, I open my task when I have to compose. It mostly happens with writing. This is another thing
Hmm.
why it comes to creative energy, because I'll do every other task of, like, I'll check every other task off my list. If I have to make an Excel sheet, if I have to send a proposal, if I have to
Same.
send, admin tasks, I'll do all of them. I'll reply to emails, I'll reply to texts from clients, everything I'll do. I can even research for that matter. But the moment it's like I have to compose posts, zero. Like, I can't think of anything. And sometimes it becomes too difficult to push myself. Like, I don't know if it's writer's block. Matlab, writer's block is also a legit thing. Or
Hmm.
I don't know if it's burnout. I don't know if I just don't like enjoy writing anymore. So I sometimes feel like I don't know what's happening. So yeah, that's something that happens. It's
Hmm.
not a
I
great
think
feeling.
the lines are pretty blurry in this case.
Mm.
I would really like love to research about this. What are the clear symptoms of burnout so I can actually prevent it. You
Let's
know,
let's do it right now. Like, I love to Google it and see what comes up. Maybe it's a fun exercise.
True.
So
Yeah. If
clear.
if anybody is listening to it, they can also do this thing. Like, we are like,
Yes.
pretty
Hmm.
much into googling things instantly when it comes to
Yes.
certain things.
Hmm. Okay.
Mayo Clinic
So
says
yes, what does it say?
Mayo Clinic says you feel drained, you are not able to cope, you are not able to sleep, you are sad, angry, irritable, or you do not care. You use substances, which is like very extreme.
Hmm.
There are other symptoms which are very extreme: heart diseases, blood pressure, diabetes, and you get sick very frequently, or you
Okay.
feel sick very frequently. Like, a lot of things are there, but I think the extreme factors, uh, maybe stress leads to the extreme factors, the diabetes and these kind
Hmm.
of things.
Chronic stress though is like, I have a strong opinion on this. Like, the lifestyle, the you see, na, lifestyle diseases are happening like left, right, and center these days. So
Hmm.
I have a strong opinion on this. Like, our lifestyle, our stressed life is what is causing all of these things. Anyway, there is a result that I found out for a question: Am I tired or burned out? So
Hmm.
I feel it's a good question. So it says, fatigue doesn't cause an absence of positive emotions or hijack the mind with false beliefs and no way out.
Hmm.
Um, Burnout crowds out positive emotions with all negative all the time. So
Okay.
this is a different way, which now that I look back upon, it makes sense. For example, when I am just tired, for
Hmm.
example, for example, I go out with friends, and most often than not, it makes me tired. So I come home and I just sleep. But there is no negative connotation associated with it, like, oh my god, I'll never go out again, or something like that. Okay, it's mostly like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm tired, I'll sleep it out. And it usually works. But burnout is an overthinking spiral, mostly leads to me. Matlab, Acha, I'll tell you how it goes. Like, most of the times when I overthink, it either leads to me changing my career, कि मतलब कंक्लूजन्स क्या आते हैं कि मैं फ्रीलांसिंग छोड़ दूँ, मैं अपने क्लाइंट्स हटा दूँ सारे, ठीक है? मैं मार्केटिंग छोड़ दूँ पूरी की पूरी, और मैं सोशल मीडिया ही क्विट कर देती हूँ, सबसे अच्छा रहेगा। और या तो मैं मशीन लर्निंग और डेटा साइंटिस्ट या कोडिंग ऐसा कुछ सीख लेती हूँ जो कि हाई पेइंग वैसी वाली स्किल्स हैं।
Hmm.
बट डीप डाउन आई नो वहाँ पे भी प्रॉब्लम्स होएंगी बर्नआउट के, ऐसा
Yeah,
तो नहीं है
yeah.
कि लाइक ऐसा तो नहीं है कि इसकी वजह से प्रॉब्लम्स नहीं होंगी। ये थॉट्स आते हैं। व्हाट आर अदर ओवरथिंकिंग थॉट्स दैट यू लैंड अपॉन मोस्टली?
Most similar things. Like I look for stability.
हाँ, जॉब कर लेते
Usually,
हैं।
I usually jump to coding.
हाँ।
I actually bought a course last month as well. So I saw the lectures like I would say 2 days, and then I did not even touch it.
हम्म।
I will eventually finish it, maybe this year,
हम्म।
because I like coding, and as I told you, I bought a hosting just today.
राइट।
So probably I'll code a little bit
हम्म।
for my personal use. So this is one thing. When it comes to overthinking, it usually leads to a career change. Similar thing. I want to quit marketing overall, social media completely,
या।
and move to other coding job or some other thing. Maybe fitness. Fitness is something which I will take literally seriously this year, in terms of maybe career.
राइट।
Probably thinking about it. So yeah, career change is the first most thing that comes to my mind whenever I'm overthinking. Uh, I don't know. This is the only thing. Like
I
when
also
am I?
feel like mostly one of the conclusions is I should like just give all of it up and like go to a vacation.
Yeah, yeah, that is also there. Like I just feel like telling clients like I cannot do this.
Yeah.
I am doing something else. So yeah, tata bye bye,
Yeah.
something like that. And sometimes I just feel like going out like on a whim, maybe an impromptu vacation, which
Hmm.
is very, I don't know, it sounds great, but it's not that easy. Like
Yeah.
you cannot just run away and take a trip for 4 days. Like you have to take care of, again, we are overthinkers, so we
Hmm.
know better. Like there's clothes, how will I get clothes? I have to buy new clothes.
Hmm.
How will I take care of travel? Maybe I'm paying more if I do not plan in advance.
Yeah.
Things like that. So like
Absolutely.
a lot of things come to the mind when I'm overthinking. But again, all of these things like they sound great, but they're not great. In actuality, like if you think about them logically, and changing career is not a 1 minute thing, because it took me like 4 years, I would say, to realize like that I want to do this. Like I started this whole writing thing like 2 years ago.
Hmm.
So the whole 4 years made me realize that there's money in this. So like I'm
Yeah.
doing it completely. So like it is not something that you can just do it on a whim. You cannot just change your career on a whim. You cannot just go out on vacation on a whim. People do that. Like most people are capable of it, which is a great thing. But again, like some things are not logical when you think about it.
Yeah. So like it's mostly the same things. I mean, uh, like we all have Acha, it also used to happen when we were in our jobs. Then my go to would be I'll just quit this job and I'll do freelancing. So that used to be my backup option. Okay. Abhi now that I'm doing freelancing, now I feel like no,
There's
I
no
need,
backup.
yeah. Recently I've been thinking like I need to have a backup option because
Hmm.
again my overthinking mind is like what if AI comes up and takes up my job, and it's a very real thing. It can happen
True.
very soon. The moment like I don't know what's happening in the background right now. Maybe OpenAI has already come up with a bigger, stronger version of writing things. So it can happen. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need a backup skill. But again, if I think in that way, then no skill is really protected by this AI thing
True.
at the end of the day. Even I think of coaching or like becoming a therapist at times. Like I think that would be my go-to. इन दीज सिचुएशंस. वो अलग बात है कि एआई ने उसका भी डिप्लीकेसी कर लिया है. देयर आर ऑप्शंस ऑनलाइन वेयर यू कैन talk to an AI coach or
Hmm.
an AI therapist. So
That is there.
that is there. I have been thinking about it, but now मतलब वही है ना यार, उसमें फील थोड़ी आएगी. Like talking to a human and like venting things out. I have done it myself to an AI, shamelessly admitting, but it didn't help. It didn't help. It doesn't help as much as a living, breathing human. So yeah,
Makes sense. I
that.
think valid point. AI, as AI has come in now, I think more jobs will have lesser time span of
Hmm.
us doing them.
Hmm.
Suppose someone in your family is teaching for 25 plus years.
Hmm.
They could do it because there was no AI, there was no alternative to it, to
Right.
educate. People had to do it.
Right.
Now you can just go to YouTube or you can just go to AI and you can just, get it done. So
Hmm.
these things were not possible back then. That's why, people stayed in jobs longer.
Right.
But when it comes to this moment when AI has come in, I think maybe we'll be doing the jobs in the lesser time span. Let's say earlier people were doing it for 25 years. Then now we maybe would do something for maybe maximum 5 years, and then we'll change careers just because AI had a revolution and we could not do the same thing again. So,
Right.
like at this moment, I think nothing is protected, nothing is, no job is stable or secure at this moment. So, like,
Hmm.
I think the biggest lesson here, the biggest lesson today is you have to have transferable skills. You have to have the, ability to learn new things, to, be adaptive to a certain environment so that you can shift, you can make careers transition, you can make career shifts
Hmm.
and not get affected by the AI revolution, which will eventually happen in the next decade, I would say.
Absolutely. And one thing that I also feel like is soft skills are much more, like in the longer run, I feel soft skills pushing people much more than hard skills, because hard skills to chali जाएंगी. My hard skill is what? Writing. Uh, it might or might not exist tomorrow. Or my hard skill might be LinkedIn management. हो सकता है लिंक्डइन का पूरा एल्गो ही चेंज हो जाए. लाइक
Hmm.
यू नेवर नो. लाइक लाइक इट हैपेंड विद एक्स. नो, एक्स का भी पूरा एल्गोरिदम सब वो चेंज कर दिया, सब्सक्रिप्शन चेंज कर दिया. So and it has happened before. For example, Facebook died overnight, right?
Hmm.
TikTok ban हो गया. So
Hmm.
people, like many influencers, many TikTok influencers just lost their job.
True
Like
that.
they were earning from it. Like it's a funny thing to say कि हाँ TikTok ban हो गया, बहुत अच्छा हुआ. Like some things happened back then, but yeah, they lost their survival in many
Hmm.
ways. And the one thing, okay, this is going like I'm digressing the
Another
topic.
direction.
I'm digressing this. So I guess that's that. And we have like we are mostly towards the end of the timing
Yeah.
that we have allotted for this one. So, what do you think would be your parting note? Like, if someone has burnout, what should they do ideally?
I think it's a very tough question. Uh, from my experience, what I do is I just follow what my heart is saying.
Hmm.
It needs a break, I give it a break.
Hmm.
If like it's most certainly my gut that I trust or my intuition, if I need a break, then maybe it's worth it. If
Hmm.
it's not worth it, I'd make up for it the next day. But
Right.
I think just don't push yourself, like over push yourself.
Hmm.
Pushing yourself is like great when it comes to certain situations, to these situations when you are not able to do anything. But
Hmm.
like don't over stress about things like you're not getting it done, your client will say something
Right.
or certain things. Like don't overstress because it will lead to more burnout. And just,
Absolutely.
maybe take, like from my personal experience, I to advise people like just take a small break and then, just don't do anything. Just do nothing. Lay on your bed, sleep, eat, just don't overthink.
Yeah.
Then come back. this is personally what I do. I don't know if it works for everyone or not, but this is something that I usually recommend people.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean that perfectly makes sense. I would just add a few things to this. That when you're burnt out, like your mind will be continuously running. So there is this um either you will indulge in overthinking in like everything, or what I like to do is I like to approach it heads on rather than like for some time I'll just like switch my brain off by watching Netflix, or like um just diversify my mind, not diversify but like just
Diverse.
divert my mind somewhere else. So I'll do that first, and uske baad bhi if it's not going, then I sit and ask my brain and like ask myself, where is this coming from?
Hmm.
So this is something that I like to do. Either I write things down, or I verbalize it, I say it out loud like talking to myself. Or one thing that I have been doing recently is I go to my AI coach and I then just talk to like, this is what I'm feeling. And what happens is I get prompts to ask myself better questions so that I know ki where is this stemming from.
Hmm.
And if I know the root cause, maybe I can better handle things. Yes,
Makes sense.
this is what I would say. And yeah, ठीक है, burnout सबके साथ होता है. So don't like think, oh my god, what is happening to me? I'm of no use. But like, uh, it happens with everyone. It's a pretty normal thing to happen. So I would say there are bigger things in life as well. Work is just one of many areas of your life. There are in total, I guess, more than 10, 12 areas of your life, including like physical, mental health, relationships, family, your personal growth, leisure, all of that. So, work is just a very small part of it. So, maybe
Hmm.
take a pause and look into other areas of your life. Yeah,
Makes sense.
that is my parting note. Yes.
Think yeah, this was pretty much it. But yeah, like there was this second when we just went on to talk about AI. I
Yes.
think it can be our
It has
another.
to be a topic.
Has to be. We have a lot of things to say there.
Yes. So this is what we are doing, guys. We are just going on rambling and then simultaneously figuring out कि अच्छा हमको बात किस बारे
Yes.
में करनी है.
One good thing I have figured is when you talk to people, you get clarity on your thoughts. I have
Yes.
repeated this again and again because this is what happens with me.
Hmm.
I did not have these thoughts before this conversation. I
Hmm.
just, at the moment I had these in my mind and then I talked it out.
Hmm.
So this is usually what happens. You get clarity when you listen to people or when you talk to people.
Absolutely. 100% agree to that point, which is what double downs on my side hustle thing as well. Maybe I should do it. It's what doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So that is it. I think we have had a very fruitful conversation today, and I'm sure our people who are listening to us found it insightful. Some people are still joining in. Um, but yeah, I think it was a good one. So I think अब हमें अपनी
There's
वाणी अब हमें अपनी वाणी को विराम देना चाहिए.
there's this one last thing that we are yet to do.
Yes.
As this episode will be out on Spotify and YouTube a week later, so like whoever is watching this on YouTube and Spotify, follow us, hit the bell button, and
या डू ऑल द
what do we-
नेसेसिटीज. और मतलब इतनी 1 घंटे तक तुमने सुना है तो मतलब तुम्हें कुछ तो पेशेंस की बात है. तो लाइक
exactly
clappings for you from my side.
add a clap noise here while editing.
So that is something. And yeah, always open to feedback. Like would you like us to cover more topics, or do you even like us like listening to us
Rambling.
rambling, or Like, what's up with you? Would you like an invite to one of these vent sessions? Maybe we can arrange that someday. So yeah,
Yeah.
all ears about that. And I think, yeah,
Yep.
that's
That
about
was
it.
us. That was us.
So yeah,
See you next week. See you next week.
next to next week. Yes, we don't want to burn out ourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it. And wishing you a very nice Saturday and Sunday. Hope you don't have to work on weekends, but Chelsea has to. So yeah.
Yeah.
Chal,
Cool. Bye, folks. See
bye
you next
bye.
week in episode 4.
Episode 4. Bye bye.
Bye bye.